Like, is it started right now? Yeah. So now we just talk. We
Nice.
just kind of hang
I
out.
love that. I can't stand the scripted stuff. Anywho, so who are we? I'm Nick, the owner. Started the company a couple of years ago. Really enjoyed doing construction, but more than that, I enjoyed doing business. So, founder, I love what I'm doing. I love working with my team. So
Yeah, that's good. I'm Noah, by the way.
no,
I'm your project manager.
yeah,
Um,
production manager,
production,
yeah, not
everything,
not just project.
everything production. I'm there when we start, and then all the way through until we're completing projects. I guess your number two, I guess, would be
Yep,
another way to put it.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's who we are.
Can't do it without you.
Yeah,
So I appreciate
absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate what
I
you
couldn't do it without you either, because then I
Clearly.
wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. What's I'm gonna ask you a question here really quick. That's us as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we as like restore and renovate homes?
Oh wow, that's a good question. So who are we? Well, we're a remodeling company. We do mostly all residential remodeling.
Yep.
Basements, kitchens, bathrooms, additions. Those are kind of our bread and butter. But more than that, I guess we're out. I might be jumping the gun a little bit here, but more than that, we're a company. We want to be about changing the industry. We want to be about making a difference in what we do. Because I don't mind the work. You know, the work is good. It is what it is, right? We're redoing people's kitchens and we're redoing their bathrooms or adding on to their house, and that's good. But it's more about the guys the guys in the industry, the guys working on the crew.
Yeah.
And really at the end of the day, the homeowner and
Absolutely.
what we're doing for them, what we're helping them accomplish and get, because it's not just a kitchen, right? It's not just a bathroom. It's more than that. This is their home. This is their place of rest. And I want them to be in love with it.
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy the space. I want them to have guests over and be proud of the space and love the house that they're living in. And then at the same time, while we're there, we're having an impact on them, right? We're everybody on the crew, solid guys, solid people. I love everybody in this company and just the heart that everybody has for doing the right thing. And that's pretty easy then to treat our customer really well.
Absolutely.
What do we always say? Under promise and over deliver. I always got to check that one because I always say it backwards.
Yeah, over promise, under deliver.
Yeah,
that would not be ideal.
We don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that.
We want to under promise and over deliver.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge heartbeat of mine.
Yeah,
is making sure that we provide just a phenomenal service for them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And I think that kind of shows in the guys on the crew, like you're talking about. Like each one of us, I just feel like our core is that we want to serve. Is kind of what it is. So you can definitely see that in the crew a lot. So yeah, that's good.
So we started in April of 2023, and we started with small beginnings like most companies. It was myself and Tristan. So shout out to Tristan on the crew. It was him and I that started, and my son Ruben as well. In the summertime, he was still in school, but he was out there helping us build decks and do the remodeling and stuff. And we started out doing smaller projects. We started out doing little things, but I started it because I had an opportunity to work for another company at very similar values and beliefs as what we do. And the owner became a really good friend of mine, and he encouraged me to get out in the industry and try it. And and I personally reached a point in my career where I couldn't go any farther. There was no more growth for me. So I saw an opportunity to start a company in an industry that I have been in since I graduated high school over 20 years ago. And I also have seen over the years working with customers at all my other jobs how poorly the industry is with good quality guys and companies of character. And so just with my heartbeat of and my desire to, you know, the things that I'm passionate about, or the things that I hold personal to me, transparency, integrity, intentionality, and passion. You know, those are my 4 big personal things that we've poured over into this company.
Yeah.
And so for me, starting the company, I started to see that as an opportunity for us.
Yeah.
An opportunity for a company to kind of be like no other company that's out there, or maybe just to be a little bit better than what's out there.
Right.
And so that's kind of how the company was birthed, out of this one necessity for just a continued career development. But then 2, it quickly became about, man, how do we help guys in the industry be, you know, better and step it up, and maybe even start their own companies with the same intention.
Yeah.
And then just provide a really good service for customers, for clients and homeowners. So that's how we started.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, you talk a lot about wanting to, you know, step it up, you know, based on all the other companies that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
What are some problems that like you see? Because like obviously you're bringing a solution to a problem that you see.
Yep.
What are the problems that you see in the industry right now?
Yeah.
Like, number one.
So what I've been seeing a lot of is a lot of guys a lot of companies who end up cutting corners.
Yeah.
And whether they're trying to just rush through and get to the next project, or they know that they can charge a good amount of money and then use lower end products, or maybe they didn't put that underlayment under the flooring, or they used really cheap cabinetry, or something, and then just painted it or something like that.
Right.
So quality is a big thing that I've noticed. Is, you know, a lot of people, they'll spend a lot of money. Homeowners will spend a lot of money. Guys will show up and they'll go, "What did I just spend this money for?"
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've noticed. A second big one, which is really passionate for me, is guys who come in posing as a contractor.
Yeah.
Or guys who come in and maybe don't have all the education, or not education, certifications, licensures, all of that stuff. And they come in looking as if they were a contractor.
Yeah.
And essentially walking in, convincing a customer that they're their answer to their the homeowner's problem.
Right.
And then taking money and then leaving.
Yeah.
And in the 2 years we've been in business, I have heard at minimum 4 different stories.
Yeah.
Different contractors of people getting ripped off by a contractor for thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I would say the 2 big things that we're seeing in that is the contractors coming in, ripping people off, and then the lack of quality and the lack of quality control.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 big ones.
Yeah. I guess like lack of integrity in the entire industry, I feel like, is just as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into jobs that, you know, they just had remodeled, you know, years before, and you're like, that was just remodeled and it looks like that. Or, you know, they almost put lipstick on a pig almost, and then, you know, spending all this money for no reason, really.
Yep. And along with that, I think part of the reason why guys that happens is contractors they're doing it just for a job.
Yeah.
Right. They're doing it just because they're like, hey, I did this with my dad growing up. I can make a job out of it. And they just get in there, they do the work, and they leave.
Yeah. It's about the money.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about the money, and collateral damage is, to them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know,
as long as they get a paycheck, then it's
exactly. Whatever. And the other thing I have seen too, I guess one of the other big things I've seen as well, is maybe contractors that are legit. You know, they've done all the right things, and they're just barely doing it. Right. They're just barely getting the licensures and certifications and stuff. And then they come out and their focus is not about making the customer happy at all.
Yeah.
It's about getting the job done and doing it, and then moving on to the next one.
Right.
Kind of like what I talked about a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But it becomes such a focus of just, hey, let me just get the job done. And then, you know, it's yep, this is just how we do it. It's how it's done in the industry.
Yeah.
And so, you know, from that perspective, you know, for us as a company trying to do it right, it's become a little bit of an uphill battle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know we're still a young company, but I'm starting to see the fruit of us being better.
Yeah.
And stepping it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like nothing beats like a word of mouth, you know, referral to someone after, especially if they've worked with the other side of the spectrum of a bad contractor or any person or any sub or whatever in the industry.
Yep.
I've definitely noticed, like, you know, with my past experiences and, you know, all the, you know, the few companies I've worked with, like this company is definitely the most, I guess, has the strongest integrity. Cool. And it's kind of nice to, you know, and it's nice that we're not hiding anything. Like, you know how they say, if you lie, then you have to remember all these things.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to do that. We're just like straight up about everything.
Yep.
And, you know, that's just refreshing, especially in, you know, this industry.
Well, and it helps you guys too in the field, right? You being the production manager and then the guys in the field, it helps them to know that they don't have to know the script when they meet with the homeowner. Exactly. They don't have to go out there and say, hey, so, well, what did Nick say? Or what did Noah say about that? Like, we can't say that, you know? So it makes their lives a lot easier too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even imagine having to be in that situation.
Yeah.
That would just be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's good.
I would say one other thing on that note, and we can kind of jump to our next point here, but one other thing too is communication piece.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
As far as contractors and communicating. And I know we'll jump into some stories here in just a second, but just communicating well. It's easy. It's really not that hard to communicate well.
Yeah.
And the fact that guys don't do it, and, you know, I'll have multiple conversations with potential clients and they're like, you're the only one who's called me back. I've called 5 guys and you're the only one who's called me back.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a pretty easy thing to do, but it's actually crazy how limited that is.
Yeah. And we look at it like, it's like the least we can do is communicate, and it's what goes the farthest.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I know that you've kind of drilled that into as we were, you know, as I got hired in the company and stuff, that was like the number one thing that sticks with me is, you know, if anything happens, you know, if a problem arises or whatever, communication can solve so much.
Absolutely.
You know, even, you know, just de-escalate things. And communication, I would say, is like number one, especially for my role too, obviously yours too, and what you do, but communication is huge.
So one customer I'm thinking of right off the top of my head is a customer they actually had an elevator installed in their house, and we just recently finished it. And our part of the project, it was kind of a twofold project, but we were working on a bathroom remodel for their master, and she's the wife's got some health complications and stuff.
Right.
So upper floor, we were doing a bathroom remodel, and then they're getting an elevator installed, and it went from the basement, main floor, or second floor. And we were hired as a contractor to make sure the flooring, we had to redo all the structure of the floor, you know.
Move trusses.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Engineering and mechanicals and plumbing, like all of it was just a big mess. And we were communicating like we've always done on every project. We communicate before we start. We communicate as we start. We communicate all the way through.
Yeah.
And this other contractor who came in to do the elevator, they strictly do elevators.
Yep.
They came in to do everything they needed to, from initial site inspection to measurements to all of these different parts and pieces. And their communication was really, really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
They wouldn't communicate the schedule. Things got delayed. They weren't telling them anything.
Yeah.
And thankfully the client kept coming to us and asking us for updates and you know, and all of that. I even had a phone call with the salesman of that company and expressed to them how disappointed I was as a contractor and how upset I knew the homeowner was about the whole situation. And what's come out of that is like
we're starting an elevator company.
We're starting an elevator company. So check back later.
Oh, man.
No, just playing. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
But what's come out of that is a homeowner who absolutely, like, if we had a Christmas party, like absolutely. A personal Christmas party, the guy would show up. I promise you he would. We've done an absolute amazing job of communication, start to finish. And even to this day, I actually had the salesman of that elevator company call me because a pretty decent sized email I sent complaining about the whole situation went completely untouched. Nobody ever responded. So that's one of the more recent ones that I've seen. Another one we're still working with her was actually ripped off by a contractor. Came in, he looked the part. His truck looked like he was a contractor. He had a business cards. He had he even had a fake builder's number on his truck as a contractor. Showed up. It was like $80,000 insurance claim. He showed up, told her he could do everything. Took a 50% down payment. Now, for those of you listening out there, don't pay 50% ever. Okay, don't do it. Took 50% of the money.
Just up front.
Right up front. She wrote him a check for, $40 grand. Then he walked away. Didn't do a single thing of work. Nothing. And on top of that, then she reached out to a company to help her with the insurance company. Longer story, I'm not going to get into. She reached out to another company and they required money right away. Didn't do any work. She was just helping them. I think this company was just helping her trying to figure things out. Took money right away. Didn't do anything. A month later, requested more money. Didn't do anything. Requested more money. Finally, she's like, I know. There's something fishy going on. And it sent her down a whole legal spiral that she's still battling today now, like 6 or 8 months later. And that's a situation where it's tough to be, as contractors who are trying to do it right, who are, trying to do it the right way and do the right things, to come up against guys like this that look the part but end up not being able to, they're taking money, stealing money, whatever. So, so those are just a couple of big ones right now that I know that we've been working with recently.
So, I mean, like when you say don't pay 50% for whoever's listening and they get told don't pay 50%, what is something that they should look for if they're not paying 50% up front?
So
how do we do it, I guess?
So that's a really good question. Good point. So we request 15% of all of our projects, 15% down.
15.
There is no reason, and speaking to our audience, there's no reason that you should have to pay 50% of any project. There's not enough upfront requirements that need 50% of whatever the project number is. So we do 15%. And
it's pretty close to 50.
Yeah. It's
don't
not
pay 50, play 50.
Yeah, 50. It's 15%. 15%. And that will always cover most any expenses. And a good contractor probably has or should have really good relationship with vendors and suppliers. So a lot of them should be able to even, get products for a limited down, small down payment or sometimes none at all. And nothing has happened yet. No labor has been put into it. It's mostly just materials. So anything more than 30% is, because it could be upwards as high as 30%. Anything more than that's just too much.
Oh, that's good.
And if somebody's asking, you're hiring them. So tell them I'm not comfortable paying 50%. I'll pay 30, but not 50.
Until you see at least some work being done.
Correct.
because I know the way that we do it is we then, after the initial, you know, down payment of 15%, then, you know, we have progress payments.
Yep.
And I think that is something that's really cool that, you know, chunks throughout the project as they're seeing things get done. They're like, oh yeah, here you go.
Yep.
So I think that's, I mean, something to look out for.
So a couple other things, talking about like what customers should look for, right? In a contractor.
Yeah.
Obviously they should be licensed.
Yeah.
And in the state of Minnesota, it's a law. You have to be licensed if you provide more than one trade.
Yeah.
So like if you come in and paint, you don't need to be a licensed contractor.
Sure.
But if you decide to do drywall, mudding and taping and everything along with painting, then you technically need to be a licensed contractor.
Sure.
It's actually pretty easy to find out if they are a legitimate contractor.
Yeah.
We'll get the link. We'll post a link on the video or wherever we can, wherever this gets posted.
Yeah.
For that website to be able to check that out. I'm pretty sure it's the Department of Labor and Industry.
Sure.
I'll have to double check that.
Yeah.
But that would be one thing. Another thing would be looking at the Secretary of State website. And you can find out if a company has registered as a legitimate business on that.
I didn't know that was something that a resource that people could use.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I would highly recommend, is contacting previous customers.
Yeah.
You know, have them supply maybe 2 or 3 different names of people and contact information. Because like you said earlier, it's great to have referrals.
Yeah.
Well, it's even good for oncoming, potential clients, for them to be able to talk to somebody that's already worked with us, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I say a couple, like 2 or 3, because a contractor can, talk to his sister and say, hey, I'm going to send people to you. You got to talk good about us. Like, so that's why I say try and get a hold of, 2 or 3 different people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything else that, for our first introduction video?
I don't know. I could keep talking all day long.
I know you could. I could listen all day. And
I love talking.
But yeah, no, some takeaways for me, like just seeing the way that we do things different, is just refreshing. I love it. Like we said, we're not hiding anything, so it's not like we're trying to keep up with this script or anything. So that's awesome. But yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you taking the time and listening to us. Always love chatting with you. It's always a blast. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
and or maybe it's like you listening to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say it's like 80-20. I'd say, I don't know. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess also, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any comments, obviously leave them down below, and we'll get to them in the next video.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for watching.